of coins, for some reason I just don't feel surprised by that. It's almost like I just felt that was going to come out. I had, like, in my body, I felt it. I didn't get an image of it in my mind or think of it or anything like that, but I feel like I don't know, I'm 100% unsurprised to see the 7 of coins. Wow, I don't know, that's very strange. Really interesting sensation. I don't know what that is. I mean, the 7 of coins is a card of investing, observing, waiting, being patient. Sometimes, depending on what else comes out with it, we feel like we're having to be too patient. We're sort of just wasting time. So perhaps the energy I'm feeling is the energy of the Divine Feminine Collective that I'm tapping into today, who is saying, yeah, 7 of coins, waiting, feeling ready to act. I'm not surprised at all. It's interesting, in this 7 of coins, we have two beings, two figures here. Usually it's just one, so and they're opposite one another. So I wonder if both feminine and masculine are feeling ready for more action here. Maybe they've come to some good decisions and they're ready to do something now. But let's see, what else, please? Okay, oh god, Knight of Coins reversed. Again, for me, when this is reversed, it's not just that we're being diligent, thorough, looking around, moving slowly, carefully. When it's reversed, we're just not moving. So you see, this is what I mean. This is the energy I'm feeling. It's entirely unsurprising. And it's like we're doubling down with this reversed Knight of Coins. The thing is, though, we have coins and also the Knight. For me, the Knight of Coins is really the only knight who, even in this moment, at his young age, relatively young, is thinking about the future, is thinking about one day I'm going to be king. What decisions do I need to make now? How do I need to prepare? So, with the pentacles being earthy, things that manifest, we can touch them, see them, they manifest in the 3D, plus this particular knight here, the Knight of Coins. I feel there's something around a whole wealth of potential, this being something that either is happening in the 3D or has the potential to thrive in a 3D sense at this point. It's like we're ready. We've done the healing, we've done the inner work, the outer work, we've gone into our shadow sides. We've been triggered, we've overcome that, we've been angry with each other, we've forgiven each other, we've seen it from a 3D perspective, from a 5D perspective, we've done our research, we're ready to go. 8 of Wands reversed. This is insane. 8 of Wands, a card of moving forward very quickly, allowing passion to carry you forward. It's exciting. It's reversed. Yeah, okay, this is making a lot of sense with the way I just felt, when the 7 of Coins came out, that it was entirely expected, because if this is how the Divine Feminine Collective is feeling, it would have been very expected. God, 8 of Coins reversed. Okay, so we have 2 8s. Now, interestingly, oh my gosh, 7, 8, and 8. So 7 is a very introspective number. We're focusing on ourselves. We're sort of going on our own journey. We're doing that inner work. 8 then is the next step up, where we're taking the wisdom we've gained and we're ready to shoot forward, which seems to be the theme so far with the cards that we have here. I've reflected, I've thought, but I'm ready to go now. I've prepared. I'm ready for action. The 8 of Coins reverse. So the Divine Feminine is ready to move forward, to put focused, continuous effort into this, showing up every day, but it feels that there is something blocking them, because the only card we have upright is the 7 of Coins, which is, we can't take that next step or that action right now. We have to wait. We can't go from the 7 of Coins to the 8 yet. We have the 3 of Swords reversed. So this feeling of I want to move, I'm ready to go, but I can't, is a familiar pain. It's an ongoing pain for the Divine Feminine. I feel like somebody might like something to do with Gothic fashion, aesthetic, literature, movies. Okay, 2 of Cups. Two of Swords reversed. And we have the Devil in reverse, Capricorn here. So maybe there's something specific that is preventing forward movement, either preventing the Divine Feminine from being able to move forward in the way they want to, or preventing something happening, something within the connection, or maybe even on the divine masculine side, that's making the feminine feel that they can't move this forward. Let's see what's going on with the devil, please. I feel whatever this is, the feminine knows about it, and maybe the hold, the interference isn't as strong as it used to be, or again, maybe it's something ongoing. Page of Swords, watching, being watched. Queen of Wands reversed. Okay, I'm seeing two things here. I think there are some divine feminines watching who feel like they're a third party, or there is a third party and they're being pushed out to on the sidelines, like a third wheel sort of thing, and they're feeling like, but Two of Cups, you and I have this amazing connection. Why do I feel like the third element here, the person or the thing that's being forgotten? And because of that, they are gaining access to or checking in with the masculine and finding out about the masculine through perhaps observing, watching, asking mutual connections, looking online, that sort of thing. And it's very demoralizing. Queen of Wands reversed. And I think the divine feminine has a sense that maybe something needs to change here, because they deserve better than this. You know, they deserve to be feeling confident and happy. Something about anxiety is coming through as well. So I don't know if some feminines wake up and feel anxious every morning. I'm hearing something about the stomach, maybe waking up even feeling sick the second they open their eyes, or if they're doing some checking online or something, feeling anxious about what they might find, what they might see. Another thing I'm seeing is if there's the influence of, if the tie here, the hold that seems kind of vibrational, if it's someone spying on the feminine or on this connection. This is someone who on the surface is quite captivating, dazzling, intriguing, seems very confident, but actually they are very insecure. They're bright light that they're shining out, it only goes skin deep, you know. This is someone who maybe likes the attention on them, and possibly they're feeling threatened by the divine feminine, so they're getting involved, making it their business. Okay, Three of Wands. Justice is reversed on the back, Libra energy there. Yeah, something's not balanced right now. So whether it's the first scenario or the second, I think that's, oh, interesting. I was going to say, I think that is what is partly causing the delay. So if it's the second scenario and there's some interference, that's obvious. But a message from Spirit that might be less obvious is that if anybody watching is resonating as a divine feminine, falling into the category of, I'm feeling really disempowered right now because of how things are and the actions I'm taking, but I feel like I want to take those actions because it's the only way I can check in, and that sort of thing. But it's not, you're not feeling like a queen or a king. You're sort of feeling almost like you're being positioned as some sort of afterthought or something. And if you're starting to feel that way, Spirit is saying that might be slowing things down within this connection, and that's not to point the finger or anything. I mean, I'm sure there are other reasons it might not be moving right now or seeming slow in the 3D as well, but just one aspect to consider that we might not have been considering, because if we think of it, if we're in that sort of lower energy and we're feeling sluggish, we're feeling sort of almost like a spare part, maybe feeling like the feminine's not getting the attention or effort from the masculine they would like, so just feeling like I'm not being appreciated. What we put out is what we attract back. So I don't know, I'm just trying to be careful, because I know it's so much easier to say. It's easy to say, oh, do things that make you feel good, and focus on the positives, and try to stop doing the things that leave you feeling unseen or unappreciated. But I mean, if you could, you would, right? Because it would feel better. There's a reason that you're checking, that you're looking, that you're watching. So maybe it's about trying to do it less, or say you're watching or you see something you don't like, making sure you have something you know you can do straight after that will calm you or soothe you, whether it's meditating, going for a walk, speaking to a friend, or whatever it is, just to get a bit of balance back. Because with the Three of Wands upright, things actually are moving forward, things will manifest. And I'm noticing down here we actually have a clock, so there's something about, you know, things will happen in the right time, which we all love to hear. It's taking time, but it's still happening. So if it's the second scenario and there is someone interfering, I would say it might be a matter of sort of almost just letting them burn themselves out, or letting them reveal themselves, because there is something captivating about this person superficially. So you might need to let people get close enough to realize that it's a facade, and then they'll expose themselves. Wow, okay. So what I wanted to do was get messages, in both cases on both sides. So messages from the feminine to the masculine, and then I'll do it vice versa as well. So let's see what the feminine would say to the masculine at this time. Mistakes. I wish I could right my wrongs. Wow, damage. We are both hurting from this, and I can see that here in these cards. Commitment. I want you to be a part of my future. Third party. Yeah, in line with what we were talking about here in this row, this column here, and then these three cards. There were other things that got in the way of us being together. So as I said, that's either that there is someone showing up as a third party who's running interference, and this is someone I think who's already been identified by the divine feminine, or right now the feminine is saying to the masculine, why do I feel like a third party to our connection? You know, why do I feel like I'm having to run around and do everything, do the most, just to get bits of information here and there, or to hear via five, you know, or through a chain of other people how you are, or that you've done this or you've done that? Why am I not just hearing it from you? Why is it so difficult for me to be able to just pick up the phone and get through to you? Why can't you just phone me, or whatever it is? Why do I feel like a spare part? Okay, what else, please? You've affected my life significantly. I'm hearing for better and worse, so yeah, okay. I'm more affected than you know. Wow, we will be together again is underneath, I want you to be a part of my future. It's crazy how these are syncing up. Even, you know, this card, we are both hurting from this, and then here, I'm more affected than you know. Wow. Let's see what we get for the third party card. Okay, we have two. Lying was just easier for me than telling you the truth. Wow, so some feminines could have a third party on their side. So maybe, you know, if there's this Queen of Wands reversed, that could be someone on the feminine side that's running interference. I wish I had told you how much you really meant to me. The other thing I'm getting strongly from these two cards, along with this one, I'm more affected than you know, is I think some feminines are really putting on a brave face, pretending I'm fine, I'm moving forward, I'm not as affected as it seems, or still trying to say or show that they're confident and vibrant, because, you know, we all know someone who is confident and happy within themselves is maybe, you know, energetically more attractive or appealing than someone who's on the floor crying. However, I do think with this Three of Swords reversed, it's important for the divine feminines who resonate with that message to give themselves the space to be that person who is crying on the floor, or whatever version of that, you know, is for them, whether it's crying or whatever it is. Because the Three of Swords reversed, it's like I'm desperate to get to that healed, peaceful place of the Four of Swords, and it's difficult to get there if we're just shoving down the feelings, because we're very aware of how we're coming across and we want to put our best foot forward. So again, it's about balance. So yeah, the lying could be going on now, like a false facade, wearing a mask. It could be pride. I'm hearing the word salvage. It's almost like it's not pride coming from a place of being prideful and egotistical. It's like I'm scraping together my pride that's left, trying to salvage what self-respect I have, and just to keep it moving forward. That feels very, very harsh. Really difficult feelings here. Feelings of abandonment, feelings of, it's part of, the mistakes card. It could be, in some cases, feeling that I wish I'd, for example, I hadn't reached out so many times. I wish I hadn't have said this, or I hadn't have, put myself out there like that, only for it to not be reciprocated, or for you to not show up the way I was showing up, or whatever it is. There's there's just this feeling of being treated like a spare part, some sort of third party, third wheel, and just being devastated and left in pieces, and now having to, we're having to scrape ourselves back together and salvage what we can. So definitely a need for some kind of healing, whatever that healing looks like. It might not even take any of the conventional forms that we hear about so often. It could be something completely unique to you, if you resonate with this message. Okay, so let's clear these message cards away. I'm going to put them back into the packs in case any want to come out for the masculine as well. I'll leave the cards out and use a different deck. Okay. What's going on, please, with the divine masculines in this connection? Seven of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, Sagittarius, and we have the Four of Pentacles. The Chariot reversed, Cancer. I think the divine masculine, more generally in their life, is wearing a mask. We all know the Seven of Swords can be some sort of deception. With the foxes here, something a bit sly, a bit sneaky is going on, and the mask they're wearing is one of happiness, satisfaction with how things are going in their life. The Wheel of Fortune, the wheel is turning, I'm experiencing good luck, I'm keeping things moving. But the truth is, their hidden truth with the Four of Pentacles is that yes, they might be moving forward, but they have no sense of where they're going, why they're going where they're going, how they're getting there. I think they're taking the most convoluted route. They just feel that, the star is calling them, they're trying to follow it, but they're just going round in circles. And they're not as in control as it seems. So they could be living to fulfill somebody else's plan, whether that's an individual, maybe it's society more generally. But there's a feeling of something is calling them, something is asking them to get into alignment, and they're not, but they're moving forward anyway and trying to pretend, this forward movement's what I want to see, even though it feels overwhelming, it feels confusing, they don't even know where they're heading. We've got the Seven of Wands. See, look, Eight of Pentacles, but with the Seven of Wands, it's like, no, Seven of Wands, I'm guarding myself, I'm resisting, but I'm pushing forward anyway with the Eight of Pentacles, and I'm putting effort into this forward movement that I don't even understand. And look, see how we've got this star above her and her head is down, and it's almost like it's hitting her shoulders and her back. I feel the star is, if we think of the star card in tarot, it's trying to connect with them. The energy of the star is saying, this is your highest truth. If you just keep walking towards me like the North Star in the sky, you're going to get to the destination that actually serves you, that's meant for you. Yes, you'll have to make some changes along the way, but they're resisting, they're not looking. The King of Wands, why did I put that on top of that? No idea, but I'll leave it there. King of Wands reversed, so a stubbornness. Knight of Pentacles and the Empress. Wow, there we go. Divine Feminine, Taurus and Libra energy. Okay, so it feels like if we think of two paths, one goes left, one goes right. The Divine Feminine is at the end of the path that takes us to the right. The Divine Masculine right now is on the path going to the left. It doesn't feel right. They're being called over to the path on the right, but for some reason they're resisting that, or they're not hearing it, or not understanding what that feeling, that calling means, and they're pushing forward down the path that leads to the left, not knowing what's at the end. It doesn't feel quite right, not even knowing why they're trying so hard to make that work. Let's see what's going on with this Seven of Wands. So if you are a Divine Feminine and you're watching this, because I know most of you resonate as Divine Feminines, and what you might be seeing from your Divine Masculine is they seem to be maybe making steps, small and big, in their life, moving forward. They seem unbothered by, on the surface, they don't seem that they're maybe considering this connection as much as you are. It seems like they're quite happy with their daily routine. And in some ways, they are forcing energy into that sort of a thing. But they actually cannot escape this deep soul resonance with you and wherever you are. They're probably getting the signs, having the dreams, thinking about you randomly throughout the day many times. It's just confusing to me as to why. Well, let's see, are they resisting it deliberately? Do they just not sort of get it at this point? I don't know. Let's see. Ten of Wands reversed, the Hierophant reversed, Taurus, Seven of Pentacles. Wow, Seven of Pentacles game. It feels to me that this Divine Masculine collective is maybe shaking off the last bits of tradition, whatever tradition means to them. Whatever they have considered throughout their lives as being the norm, and what they expected for themselves and of themselves, it's like they're shaking off the remnants of that, the last bits. So it feels almost like a struggle between the plans they had for themselves, perhaps for years, that they feel on some level they need to see through to completion, and also convention and tradition, versus the change of plan, which is that they just want to be over here with the Divine Feminine, and that makes, or that would mean a very different kind of life, or things looking very different to what they'd anticipated, and very different to what society says and what their familiar structures say. So it's not just a pull between what they're currently doing and their daily routines and reaching out to the feminine and moving forward towards the feminine. It's much bigger than that. I mean, it's yes, that's involved, but it's also their present selves forgiving themselves for not pushing through and achieving the dreams that maybe their younger selves aspired towards and worked towards, and feeling like that's okay, I'm allowed to change my mind. It's also saying to themselves, okay, I'm ready for the judgments, in some cases, not for every twin flame connection, in some cases that I'm ready for the judgments that other people are going to place upon me for being in this connection with my Divine Feminine, who maybe is, maybe there's I don't know, a cultural difference or something, or a difference in status or age or whatever it is, and it's so dependent as well on location, because in some places maybe a bit of an age gap won't matter, but cultural differences will. In another place, no one would even, I don't know, look twice if two people were from quite clearly different backgrounds or something, but the age thing would be, a big deal or something. So I mean, it depends as well. And with me talking about locations, geographical locations, I wonder as well if there would be a big move involved for both masculine and feminine, or one. So it's saying, okay, am I ready to leave my family behind and my commitments and my job and all of that? Wow. Okay, let's clarify this Empress card. It's a generational thing sometimes as well. It's not just a time thing. So say, okay, maybe now in 2023, if we saw a couple and they had a 10-20 year age gap, for example, maybe we'd be like, okay, fine. Whereas perhaps, I don't know, 100 years ago, well, actually, no, if we go back too far, I don't know, there's probably a point in time where people would turn their heads. But if two people are in a relationship or coming into a relationship and the age gap is significant enough that they're from very different generations, then the thinking of the two people, just the two individuals alone, might be, you know, quite different to one another. So it's just, I'm just trying to make the point in a very clumsy way that it feels like there are personal considerations that the divine masculine is thinking about that are very specific just to the connection between them and the divine feminine, but also the more expanded considerations about structures, societies, all of those things as well. Okay, what else please for the Empress? Three of Cups. Interesting, because we have the message from the divine feminine saying, why do I feel like a spare part here, the third party, the third wheel? We even had the message card talking about a third party. So this can be the masculine saying, look, I know the position I've put you in, I actually understand more about that than it might seem. Also, if the third party is a person on the feminine side, that is something the masculine is thinking about as well and very aware of. Could even be friends. Oh my god, look! Yes, it's the Queen of Wands, reversed, same card. Okay, so whoever this is, whoever side this person is on, and it doesn't have to be a woman, can be of course, whether it's the masculine or the feminine side, both divine feminine and masculine are aware of this person and thinking about the role this person is playing. And if it's not a third party, the masculine is saying, I'm super aware that the position that you're in, divine feminine, is disempowering for you, has knocked your confidence, is not appropriate for how amazing you are. Two of Swords reversed, so it could be that the masculine has caught up to this realization later than the feminine. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so one thing that's pretty demoralizing for both, actually, is that in the cases in which this Queen of Wands figure is a person, a third person, the divine masculine seems to be working with them in some way, putting in time, effort, doing something as a team, whatever it is, whether it's work, home, family, and that's demoralizing, of course, for the feminine to see, but also for the masculine, because again, they're going down that wrong path, and for them it does feel like wrong versus right, in terms of what's resonating on a soul level. Okay, so let's get some messages from the masculine to the feminine. I mean, that's a lot. Let's have a look what we've got. In fact, let's just take these two. We have forgiveness, I'm struggling to get over the past, and we have reflection. Being away from you has allowed me to gain clarity. Now, interestingly, I remember the first card out, I think, was mistakes for the divine feminine. So if there is a situation where there's a divine feminine who has done something that they regret, and they feel like it was a mistake, the divine masculine might be saying, I'm trying to get over it, but you know, it's proving difficult. If that's not the situation, could be the masculine trying to forgive themselves. Ego, I let my pride get in the way of our connection. And we have commitment. Wow, same as the feminine. I want you to be a part of my future. And those cards were flying out, so I do think the masculines would like to talk to the feminines and have a lot to say. Perhaps part of this pride that got in the way, silenced them. You know, they didn't speak honestly, truthfully from their heart space. I have to say as well, we have the Empress coming out, representative of the Divine Feminine. We didn't have the Emperor as far as I can remember. I kind of feel that in this present moment, just at this time, the Divine Masculine might be holding the Feminine in higher regard than the Feminine is holding the Masculine. And I don't mean... well, what I do mean is like their 3D selves, when they consciously think of one another. I think the masculine is perhaps feeling, is holding the feminine in higher regard than they are the masculine, just because I think right now the feminine's very wounded and in pain and disappointed, perhaps even in some cases, with the action or lack of action the masculine has taken. Of course, on a soul level, it still remains equal. We've got that Two of Cups. I just got caught up in the moment. Yes, if this is the masculine forgiving themselves, I wonder if they did something that hurt the feminine and they're saying, you know, I just got caught up in the moment, it was something stupid, it wasn't even worth it, and look at the pain it's caused. A lot of signs are pointing to you lately. Yeah, of course, because they are being called isn't even the right word. It feels like, I don't know how to explain it. It's the star. I keep seeing the star. The energy of the star, it's like, imagine the energy takes some sort of shape that has hands and arms, and it reaching out to the masculine and trying to pull them towards the feminine. That's what it feels like. I see a little part of you in everyone I meet. And the feeling I'm getting with this is that it's not even that they see a bunch of people who look like you in different ways. Someone's got your hair, someone's got your eyes, someone wears the same clothes. No, I think it's, you know, people ordinarily who objectively have no resemblance to you, the feminine, whatsoever. But because this masculine is you know, plagued by all these signs and thinking about you so often, that every time they talk to someone, they're looking for you in everyone. So they could even, let's say you know some of the same people. They could be with some, you know, the person you both know, they're talking to someone else, and then when that person goes, they turn to your mutual connection and say, don't you think that person looked exactly like, you know, you, the Divine Feminine, or had their eyes, or had the same expression when they laughed? And the mutual friend is like, no. How were you seeing that? I didn't think that at all. They're just looking for you in everyone. It all comes down to timing. Wow. Now, actually, I don't think they're that far off, because remember this card, we ended with the Three of Wands for the Divine Feminine, and I was talking about the timing and the clock down here. So actually, then, you know, that could very well be true. It's not just a sort of fobbing off of responsibility and action kind of thing. It does feel true, actually. Okay, so I will leave this here. I actually found today's reading kind of difficult to put into words, so I hope, you know, it resonated and you understood what I was saying, or that, you know, we all